Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Nur Fauzi from 4A class. What is annotating? So, annotating is any action that deliberately interacts with a text to enhance the reader's understanding of recall of and reaction to the text, sometimes called close reading. Annotating usually involves highlighting or underlining key pieces of text and making notes in the margin of the text. Jadi makna intonasi itu adalah catatan yang dibuat oleh pengarang atau orang lain untuk menerangkan, mengomentari, dan mengkritik teks. Itu yang dimaksud annotating. Writing style for annotating. There is three of style for writing annotation. Jadi ada 3 gaya ya untuk menulis anotasi. The first one is phrases, second sentences, and the last is paragraph atau frasa, kalimat, dan paragraf. 1. Phrases atau frase. Short phrases providing the information in a quick and concise manner. And the next is sentence atau kalimat. Write out complete sentence with proper punctuation and grammar. Be sure to keep sentence short and concise. And the next is paragraphs. Longer annotation also breaks the information out into the different paragraphs. This can be very effective for combination annotation. Jadi ada 3 untuk menulis anotasi. Yang pertama adalah frase. Frase yang pendek memberikan informasi dengan cepat. Ya. Terus yang kedua ada kalimat. Menulis kalimat dengan tanda baca dan grammar yang layak. Terus yakinkanlah supaya kalimat singkat dan ringkas agar lebih jelas pastinya ya. Dan yang terakhir adalah paragraf. Lebih banyak anotasi membuat informasi menjadi berbeda paragraf. Jadi ya kurang itulah. Maksudnya berbeda dari yang utama. Dan yang sangat efektif untuk kombinasi anotasi. Jadi bagus nih. And then annotating symbols. An annotation symbol is a tag or symbol applied to a family to uniquely identify that family in a project. The text can also include properties that appear on schedule and secreting the schedule or quantity. And here there is a picture of text symbol for annotating text. Ya, ada tanda bintang yang pertama berarti itu adalah teks yang penting. Ya. Selanjutnya ada garis. Garis di sini maksudnya adalah kata kunci atau detail. Selanjutnya ada checklist atau centang yang berarti saya itu mengerti, kita mengerti apa yang dimaksud dari teks tersebut. Dan yang selanjutnya ada lingkaran oval. Ini maksudnya adalah kata yang tidak familiar gitu, yang jarang dilihat oleh kita. Selanjutnya ada tanda tanya, maksudnya ini kita itu tidak mengerti apa ini teks ini apa itu. Ada lagi tanda seru, ini maksudnya adalah kita seperti terkejut baru pertama ngelihat kalimat ini atau kata-kata ini. Ada lagi simbol infinite atau tidak terhingga. Jadi kita itu udah memahami teks tersebut. Dan yang terakhir adalah dengan menulis kata atau kita komen. Tentu saja kita berpikir untuk bagaimana pendapat kita tentang teks tersebut.
And the next is evaluating. Your annotation might stop at summarizing, or you could take it a step further by evaluating the search. To do this, you want to compare and contrast it. Why did this one make the cut? Explain the overarching goal of the search and why it fits into your paper so well. Additionally, you want to look at the reliability of the information and any bias it might have. Dig deep into your search, like in this example. And the next is informative. Summary annotation simply provide a summary of your different sources. Within them, you describe the main arguments or points along with the various topics covered. This is where you show why this search was essential and made it to your list. See an example of informative annotation as plain. And the last is combination. Annotation don't have to just follow one specific format. You can combine all three types of annotation into your annotate bibliography. For example, you might spend a few lines describing and summarizing the work.
I will present about outlining, membuat outline atau kerangka. Trying to devise a structure for your essay can be one of the most difficult parts of the writing process. Menyusun struktur esai bisa menjadi salah satu bagian tersulit dalam proses penulisan. But if you're making a detailed outline before you begin writing is a good way to make sure your ideas come across in a clear and logical order. Jadi, dengan membuat kerangka rinci sebelum mulai menulis adalah cara yang baik untuk memastikan ide Anda muncul dengan urutan yang jelas dan logis. A good outline will also save your time in the revision process. Jadi membuat outline yang baik akan menghemat waktu Anda dalam proses revisi. When should I write an outline? Writing an outline can take place at any time during the writing process. Also, it is most commonly used before beginning to write or doing research. This process can also take place during or after writing your paper to make sure your points are organized and make sense. Jadi, kapan sih harus menulis outline atau membuat outline? Penulisan untuk membuat outline dapat dilakukan kapan saja selama proses penulisan. Meskipun ini paling umum digunakan sebelum memulai menulis atau melakukan penelitian. Proses ini juga dapat dilakukan selama atau untuk memastikan poin yang Anda buat terstruktur dan masuk akal. How do I write an outline? First, identify your topic or thesis statement. Second, decide what points you would like to discuss during your paper. Third, put your points in logical, numerical order so that each point connects back to your main point. Fourth, write possible transition between paragraphs. Remember that your outline should serve as a rough idea of how your paper will develop. It doesn't have to be very formal or exact. Bagaimana sih cara membuat outline dengan benar? Yang pertama, identifikasi topik atau pernyataan tesis Anda. Yang kedua, putuskan poin apa yang ingin Anda diskusikan dalam paper atau makalah Anda. Yang ketiga, letakkan poin dalam urutan numerik yang logis sehingga setiap poin terhubung kembali ke poin utama. Yang keempat, tulis kemungkinan transisi antar paragraf. Ingatlah bahwa outline harus berfungsi sebagai gambaran kasar tentang bagaimana makalah Anda akan berkembang, tidak harus sangat formal atau tepat.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my full name is Ali Nurul Aulia. I am from 4A class. So in here, I will to explain about outlining from my friends. The first materials is outlining strategies. Outlining strategies is your first draft by listing each paragraph's topic sentence can be an easy way to ensure that each of your paragraph is serving a specific purpose in your paper. You may find opportunity to combine or eliminate potential paragraphs when outlining first drafts often contain repetitive idea or section that stall, rather than advance the paper's central argument. Additionally, if you are having trouble revising a paper, making an outline of each paragraph and its topic sentence after you have written your paper can be an effective way of identifying a paper's strength and weakness. So, outlining strategies have 5 aspects. The first is introduction or context. Your introduction provides context to your readers to prepare them for your paper's argument or purpose. An introduction should begin with discussion of your specific topic, not a broad background overview, and provide just enough context definition of key terms, for example, to refer your readers for your thesis or purpose statement. Two aspect is thesis purpose or statement. Thesis or purpose statement. A thesis or purpose statement should come at the end of your introduction and state clearly and concisely what the purpose or central argument of your paper is. The introduction prepares your reader for this statement and the rest of the paper follow in support of it. Three aspect is background. Background is after the initial introduction, background or your topic often follow. This paragraph or section might include a literature review surveying the current state of knowledge on your topic, or simply a historical overview of relevant information. The purpose of this section is to justify your own project or paper by pointing out a gap in the current research which your work will address. Fourth aspect is major and minor points. Major points are the building blocks of your paper. Major points build on each other, moving the paper forward and toward its conclusion. Each major point should be a clear claim that relates to the central argument or your paper. And then minor points. Minor points are subtopics within your major point. Minor points develop the nuance of your major point that may not be significant enough to warrant extended attention on their own. This might come in the form of statistic example from your researches or supporting ID. Okay. The last is conclusion. Your conclusion but respects your paper's major claim and ties the claim into a larger discussion, rather than simply reiterating each major and minor point. Quickly revisit your thesis statement and focus on ending the paper by tying your thesis into current research in your file. Next step for other research, your brother's studies or other future implications. Thank you for attention. Correct me if I'm wrong. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you.